everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. It's been a long time since we worked on an old tractor, so let's work on one. We're all familiar with this little beaut. This is my friend Gord's 1949 Ferguson TE20. We've done a few things on it over the years, and what it's here for this time, it's going to get totally rewired. All the electrical is going to get redone. It's right now it's a mess. There's tape and wires and stuff going all over the place. So we're going to start from scratch. And another thing that we're going to do is make it so that it starts from the shift handle like it's supposed to, not with this key, because with this it can start in any gear, and we don't want that. We want it to start in neutral like it's supposed to with that. So first thing we have to do is pop this cover off here. That is where the actual starter switch is. And we're going to have to see if the linkage and the bell crank is still in there. Well, it's hard to see, but the linkage is still in there. Now, what I have to do is I have to get this thing out of here because there's some screws holding this cover on, and they are just seized right in there. So I don't want to risk breaking them. So we'll get this thing out of here and see if we can get a little heat on them or whatever and get the screws out. Alrighty, I got it off. I clamped a pair of vice grips on the bell crank so it doesn't fall down in there, and then it won't go anywhere, but I'd have to fish it out. So it's better that way. It's not going to go anywhere. And now we can go over to the vise and see if we can get a little heat on these and get these screws out. Got them. They all came out. No bad threads or nothing. So we're in good shape. Well, we got our new starter switch. So now we can go ahead. I'm going to take out the battery, get all the electrical out of this thing, and we're going to start from scratch. There's all the wiring out of it. We'll deal with that in a sec. And our battery cables. For now, I want to get the new starter switch installed. There we are. We'll get her bolted down. Then we can start laying in some wire. I quickly checked the switch with the meter and made sure it worked. We're all good. We can go ahead now and start doing our wiring. Well, let's see what happens here. I've got the cables laid in. I'll tidy this up after. I just want to see if it works. So we turn the battery on, and let's see if she'll crank over. Perfect. So you see that's how a Ferguson works. There's a S position there. You see the S. That assures that it will only crank in neutral. All right, what I'm going to do now is unwrap all of this harness. There's some stuff we can reuse, but a lot of it's junk. All right, now that we've got the battery cables all done and we know it cranks, we're going to lay in the charge circuit. So the first thing we do is I got a new piece of wire. It's 10 gauge. I crimped an end on it and put a little heat shrink on it. Just gives it a little more strength around there. And plus it'll be, I think it's going to end up aimed up like that. And that'll keep moisture from wicking down it. Or maybe it won't be. We'll see. On these Fergusons, there's not a lot of place to run your wiring on this side of the engine. You can't be going through there because there's belts and pulleys and this linkage going back and forth. So the best thing to do with this is to, or maybe, hang on. If I, see, you got this bloody manifold here. Now, this is the best way to do it. This is how I've always done it on Fergusons. Now, what we've got here, this is a GM alternator, a 10SI, but it's been converted to one-wire operation, so you don't need the wire on here to start up the regulator when it first starts. This one, as soon as it starts turning, it theoretically should start charging if it's turning fast enough. Sometimes, depending on your pulley combination, you got to get the throttle just a little blip to get it going. But I think this one was working okay, if memory serves me. So we're going to get this fed up through here. I put a little wire clip on one of the manifold studs, and it keeps this wire safe from any of the carburetor linkage, and it keeps it away from hot stuff. Now what we have to do is it's going to go up here, follow the positive battery cable, and this wire is going to terminate over on the other side on the, let me, it'll terminate here, which is the charge side of the ammeter. And then we'll go from the discharge side of the ammeter to the positive battery cable. I don't like attaching stuff to here, so what I'll do is we'll run that down and put it there at the solenoid. Now I've got this piece of number 10 that comes out of the ammeter and goes down here to the root of the positive battery cable. So that is our charge output circuit complete, from the alternator up through the ammeter and back down to here and into the battery. Now we need to get voltage from the hot side, or the charge side of the ammeter, over to the ignition switch. I've built this up before I put it in the tractor. The electrical system on this one is really, really easy because number one, it uses a resistor coil, or a coil that does not require an external ballast resistor. It's internally, it has the resistor built into it. And on top of that, we have a one-wire self-exciting alternator. We do not need to run the idiot light and the ignition wire to the regulator. So it's pretty simple. We've got, this is going to come, this wire comes from the charge side of the ammeter to the ignition switch. I've got this little link with a 20 amp fuse in it to go run the lights, and this one goes down to the coil, and that's pretty much it. We just have to get these switches mounted in the tractor, get these wires run and terminated, and wrap them all up, and she should be ready to go. Got the switches back in and our wires, starting to route them to where they need to go, and we're going to run this one down here, and then they've got to kind of split up. The blue one goes to the back lights. The green one is going to keep going through and hook up to the front lights. And the green one is for the points, or the coil. And the brown one, the heavy wire, is for the lights on the headlights. On these tractors, and Fords are the same, the wiring gets from the back to the front. On a Ford, usually the taillight, that would be on that fender. It comes down, it crosses over here, and the wire is clipped to all these bolts. And then it turns, and it goes through this hole here up to the front, and it's got a clip here, and a clip here, and a clip here. And it's originally it was a thick 6-volt wire with heavy fabric insulation on it, and it kind of held its own along here. Well, we've got a piece of 16 gauge modern copper wire here, and that wouldn't stand up. Just hitting it with your foot, getting on and off the tractor, it would get destroyed. So what I did, this is a piece of 3/8 plastic fuel line, and I just stuck that through there to act as kind of a conduit. I've got a couple of clamps on it, and I've run the wire through that, and it'll be good and safe to get the juice back there. He's just got a little work light on the back fender here. I've got our connections made here. That's the headlights. And we've got our ignition primary stuff all done. All that's left to do now, I'm going to put the battery in it. We'll see if it'll crank up. And I have to make sure it charges. And I have to make sure I've got the alternator hooked up, or the ammeter hooked up right, because I'm pretty famous for hooking them up backwards. It's a 50-50 shot, and I usually come up short. Then once I know that stuff is okay, I'll bundle up all these little harnesses and make sure everything is insulated. I need to put a little bit of loom. What I'll probably do is put a piece of larger loom over all of this to protect it. So what I'm going to do now is close this so that circuit is complete. And we're just going to touch this here. Make sure we've got no sparks or anything. So that's good. Now we'll see if she'll crank up. Well, here we go. I got the fuel opened up. The volt meter here says we've got 12.8. So we're going to put the ignition on. Oh, all right. That's the first good sign. I've got the ammeter hooked up correctly. When I flick the ignition on, I see the needle move to the discharge side. That's good. All right. See if we can get it charging. Perfect. So she's charging 13.7 volts. All right, let's see if our lights work. Yep, headlights work. Work light works. Good. Yeah, that's all tidy and buttoned up now. I went ahead, installed the battery cables, tightened them up, and included Gord's little battery charger pigtail. He's got a little trickle charger he puts on it when he's not using it. So that's there. But I can't put it down below into the wiring because it's got to bypass the battery cutoff switch. So now our favorite part of any old tractor video, we got to take this thing for a spin and make sure it's all good, right? Oh, it helps if you turn on the battery. See? The battery kill switch, we know it works. Well, she sure starts good, don't she? It's a beautiful evening. Yeah, you can see there it's charging. Great. Look at the sky. It's just beautiful. It's, I guess, the middle of August. All right, let's put her away. Well, that all went pretty well. It's great. It's running. It's charging. The lights work. The wire's all tightened up. And most importantly, it starts in neutral now like it's supposed to. I've still got one more video to make about this tractor. I've noticed that it's sprung quite a few hydraulic leaks in the back end. So we're just waiting on some parts to come, and we're going to take apart everything. Axle seals, PTO seals, and top and bottom gaskets, and that should nip that in the bud. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's been a while since we monkeyed around with an old tractor here, and I know a lot of my subscribers and followers, that's what they're interested in. It's the old tractor. So here you go. We're back. We got a Ferguson, and we did some work on it. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Hope you'll come back and see us again. And until then, I'm Kevin, and so long from the Claremont Classic Garage.